Hello there, it's Carrie Rhodes here. Welcome back to the Trinity Stamps YouTube channel. Today in our video, I get to play with a new cut and foil plate set, and I'll be using some new Distress Mica Spray stains to make a see-through shaker card. This is the Foiling Pine set. It has this gorgeous and very detailed pine tree to hot foil and a die to cut it out. And we're going to use those to make our see-through shaker. This is a very large tree. Here you can see it on an A2 size card front. I'm going to hot foil mine with Prism foil. It's silver with some speckles in it. It's gorgeous, onto some very smooth white cardstock. And I just put that face down onto my Glimmer hot foil system, pushed the timer, and then after that goes off, run it through my die machine. Now you can see the beautiful results. I love this Prism foil. It's so festive on trees. I did use this in last week's video. You may have seen the winter tree shaker card that I made, which will be different from this one, but I use the same foil. So if you haven't seen that video, I'll link it for you at the end of this one. You can check it out. So there it is, all die cut out, and we're going to set that aside and work on our background. I'm doing some ink smooshing, and I'm starting with Uncharted Mariner. Smooshing that down onto my glass mat, spritzing it with water, and then I'm going to do a little process of just spraying it with water, heat setting it, picking up some excess ink with a paper towel, and layering up my ink. So this is just layer number one. The ink will kind of collect or pool at the edges, so I will dab that up, and then once the ink is like mostly dry, I like to go back in for another layer, so you get those darker and lighter areas, and like that really defined edge of the ink is so beautiful, and little splatters when you spray it. And you can pick those splatters up and have lighter little areas, and it's just gorgeous. Okay, so now I have my Frosted Winter Mica Spray Stain. This is from the newest release, and I am using that to ink smoosh. Just sprayed it on my mat, spritzed it with a little water, and I'm repeating the same thing just like I did with my ink pad. So I'm spritzing it with water, heat setting it, dabbing up any extra large puddles of ink after heating it up for a minute, and continuing with the layering. And when you first do this with the mica spray stain, you might not notice like as much mica as you think you would, but when it dries, it's definitely there, and it is amazing. So I highly recommend this if you have any mica spray stains, to mix it in with your ink smooshing because it is so beautiful. All right, next we're coming in with some green. This is fresh balsam, and I'm spritzing that with water and layering it right on top. So my ink is dry, so it is going to layer, and I think that it is so beautiful. It kind of reminds me of like a aerial photo of like water and earth. It's just, oh my goodness, I love how this background turned out so much. I took a picture of it and I made it the wallpaper on my phone. So now I can look at this forever, even though it's going to be cut up later. It was just so much fun to make and so pretty. So I'm layering, spritzing, dabbing, heating. It's so fun. If you've not done ink smooshing before, give it a try. And by the way, I don't think I mentioned that I'm doing this on watercolor paper, which can take a lot of those layers of water. There you can see some of the mica starting to come through. All right, now let's add even more splattering with those same two mica colors. This is the Winter Frost, and you know, when you first put it on, it looks so dark. It's kind of scary, but when it dries, the ink kind of sinks in, the mica shows up. It's gorgeous. It'll be a lot lighter than this. And also we're die cutting out the middle, so a lot of this is not going to be in our final card. So take a look now at what it looks like dry. So different, right? It does dry back much lighter. All right, I am taking a little bit of Picket Fence Distress paint and splattering that on as well. It disappeared. It didn't really show up at all. Here it is dry. Not much is happening with the white. I could maybe have gone back and added a little bit more later, but I just decided to go with it. Okay, now that's all dry. I'm going to die cut out the tree from the center of this panel, and I put a paper towel over the top because even when you think mica is dry, no, it takes a lot of time to dry. I even heat set it. Okay, so now I have that background and my card base. It's an A2 size card base. I'm putting that card front panel on my card as I would have it be when I'm all done with my card. Now I'm taping that in place with the die in place so I can cut an opening into my card that's going to line up with the opening in my card front, because remember, this is a see-through shaker. Now I have that opening in my card base. I can add my hot foiled tree from the beginning of the video, and that's getting stuck down to the inside of the card. But having that window there is allowing me to line everything up. So now we need to create our shaker. This is the back side of my card front, that ink smooshed background. I'm gluing on a window sheet to cover up my tree, just like that. I am using a little bit of anti-static powder because inside my shaker, I'm going to add some mica flakes, and I want them to not stick to the window too much. Then I'm adding some foam tape all the way around, making sure my ends touch on all four sides so none of my shaker bits can escape. And I do like to add a little brace here because I don't want the shaker bits to go around too far. These are just some white seed beads that I had in my stash, and then the mica flakes. So now it's time to remove the backing from the foam tape, and when that's all done, and I did mix up the shaker bits with the mica flakes a little bit, I added a second window sheet. So we've got a window sheet sandwich. Say that 3 times fast. Anyways, it is a delicious and yummy shaker. Now I'm adding glue to the back of that second window sheet and lining up the openings of the 2 trees. So the opening in my card front and the opening in my card base. And now I have a window to the inside of my card where the hot foiled tree is. Okay, we're going to dress up our tree a little bit now. I am making 3 figure 8s with this silver twine. I'll take the end, wrap it around the center of the figure 8s, and then back through that loop that I just made and pull it tight. And this is going to give me a triple bow. Yes, and it is so pretty, and I thought just really fun and whimsical for the top of the tree. A nice way to stick it down is with a glue dot, so I added that, and then you can just kind of press the knot into the glue dot, like so. Oh, it's so pretty. All right, next is a little more embellishment, a shooting star. There are different colors of stars in here. They're a little bit 3D, and I thought one of the blue ones would be perfect right in the center of my bow there to, I don't just add a little extra, but the bow could be fine by itself. But look how cute. I love it, and it has an iridescent finish, which goes really good with the shiny mica. Okay, now let's play with the Snowfall Grip Paste. Sparkling, translucent paste with clear glitter for texture and dimensional effects. It's so much fun. I'm going to put this all across the bottom so my tree isn't just floating in the sky, right? It's got to be setting on the ground, and this is going to be my snowy ground. Now, I use a lot of this, all right? I just cake it on there. It is so fun to play with, and I kind of have this goal to see if I can totally use up my Snowfall Grip Paste. Like, why hoard it? Okay, remember the Cozy Christmas Cottage set? I used it on last week's card, and this week I thought I would use the presents from this set to go under this tree. It's a little more dressy and elegant, so how about some silver embossing on these presents? And I think it was the perfect touch to kind of make them a little bit more elevated. And I did heat set them and then fussy cut them out because I didn't want to have a border around them. I just wanted to cut right near the edge of that embossed line. So now my Snowfall Grip Paste is still wet. I can kind of tuck the presents in just like they've been pushed down into the snow a little bit. And I think it's a really fun but not overpowering little accessory for this tree. Oh my word, I love it. So now I had to let that Snowfall grit paste dry. So I'm setting it aside and working on my sentiment. I have the Simply Sentimental Holiday Set. I am using the word happy and holidays in this really cute like typewriter font. I'm going to make a little banner. So I'm using the Uncharted Mariner Distress ink, which isn't like the perfect ink for stamping. So I am stamping it 3 times. It works just fine and it totally matches what I have going on my card. So I love it. I love that color. All right, to trim this down, I'm actually using my quick trimmer. This is for trimming out your hot foil, which I didn't show the trimming of my hot foil today, but I am showing that you can use this also for paper. There's a blade for paper and for foil, so that works out really nice. And this I'm going to trim off the ends with my scissors, and one end I'm going to cut a little slit right up the center, then cut from the corner to the top of the snip on both sides, and that gives me that little banner effect. And you know what? It's not perfect, and I'm totally okay with that. All right, I am giving this a little curve with a crease tool, and then I am going to stick it down with some more glue dots. Glue dots for the win today. I also used it to stick that star down right on top of my bow. So one will go at each end of this little banner where the middle is going to kind of be sticking up. And I'm going to tuck that end right under that little star, and it just kind of looks like it's cascading down the tree. I think it was a nice touch. I really like it. I did think and think and think how I wanted to add a sentiment to this. And so now let's take a look at this card when the Snowfall grit paste is dry. Now remember, it's translucent, so you are going to be able to see the background through it. If you want to see less of the background through it, you could always add a second layer. And now remember, this is a see-through shaker, so when you open the card, you see that beautiful hot foiled tree. You can see the window from there as well, and I think it's just super fun. Plus, I have this other piece left over. I could always make something with that too because it's so gorgeous. All right, if you would like more inspiration from Trinity Stamps, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook too. And if you're new here, feel free to subscribe. We have several videos a week to inspire your creativity. And if you're interested in our supplies, they are linked for you below. I'll see you all again very soon. Happy stamping! Bye!